We are back for another edition of the Game Time TBA podcast. Myself, Brian Graham, and Troy Marcus breaking down the SEC championship.
SEC championship, Alabama versus Georgia. I believe Thanos said it best. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. This was inevitable. We knew this was inevitable. In a year where Ole Miss and A&M had historic seasons, Bama, Georgia, and Atlanta was inevitable.
Here we go again.
That's right.
Gosh, and what is it? Since 2015, I believe, either one of these teams has won every single SEC championship except for Joe Burrow in 2019
Right.
LSU.
That's just insane to think about.
Yeah,
Just a
pretty
run of just
wild.
dominance, But yeah, here we are, a rematch. We don't play them we don't Alabama and Georgia don't play that often in the regular season. It's usually been in Atlanta, but the past 2 years, we have showdowns, have round one in the regular season, and now Alabama didn't see him there last year, but going to get a round two with the
Round two,
dogs
man.
here. So very much looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Very much expecting an all-time classic, just like it is every time the Tide
yeah,
and the Dogs square off.
yeah. And before we get into the game, man, I mean, just shout out to Kalen DeBoer. Year two, and he made the SEC championship. Heck of a year. You beat Georgia 2 years in a row, and great today. We had that press conference for SEC championship, and we finally put to bed the Penn State rumors. Kalen DeBoer loves it in Tuscaloosa. I think Yay Alabama, from what I've heard, had a thing with his wife, had a sit down and
The
talk, and
First Lady.
yeah, the first lady of the Crimson Tide, and they said she's loving it too. So I think we can finally put to bed. The haters can settle down. Kalen DeBoer is a great football coach and fits in just well at Alabama because you know what it takes to fit in, winning football
Winning. That's it.
games, recruiting
Well,
the good players and winning the football games, and he's doing both of them. So I think we can finally put that to bed.
it's still, it'll still come up. I think I read this evening, that Penn State's kind of turned their attention to Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think we both can agree is a phenomenal football coach and would be an
Yeah.
absolute home run hire
About
for
time,
Penn
man.
State. But yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. But yes, it was amazing. DeBoer said it today. It's the first time he's ever been asked directly. We were just going off of message boards and tweets and speculation. But now that he finally put it out there in the public, Tide fans rest easy. And for any Tide fan that still doubts Kalen DeBoer is the head coach of the Crimson Tide, just go pick a new team because this is the coach of this team. This is the guy for this job. And what an unbelievable job by him and his staff. If you would have told us the day after the Florida State game we'd be getting ready to play Georgia for the SEC championship, I mean, you could have cashed in a huge bet, a huge winning slip if you would have bet that on September 1st or August 31st, whatever day after the game was. But
Yeah.
remarkable job by everybody involved with Alabama to be getting ready for Saturday.
Absolutely, man. We're excited for it. But yeah, rematch of earlier this season. Don't recall the last time in at least Alabama's SEC championship that we've played an opponent that we played earlier in the year. I don't know if you,
Divisions, you couldn't really do it with
yeah,
divisions, really.
yeah. So this is kind of a first time for Alabama. Probably Georgia. I know Georgia had a rematch versus Auburn back in 2017, and they got
Texas last year.
yeah, they got Texas last year. So they've had a couple of these instances, but it is new for Alabama. But it's cool. It's a cool thing. It's great. Georgia's only loss on the year. Alabama got that 24-21 win in Athens. A lot of people though are saying, these teams have gone in two different directions over the past month.
Mhm.
What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I don't think that's an outrageous thing to say. I know there are certain factions of the Alabama fan base that'll get very offended by that. I don't think it's an outrageous thing to think. I think, Alabama had an incredible October. I mean, and then they won games in November minus Oklahoma, but it just kind of felt like they're out of sync, out of rhythm. Things looked hard. You had the game against Oklahoma where you just uncharacteristic things. We're seeing Ty turn the football over, strip sacks, throwing interceptions. But it kind of just looked to me more difficult than it had been in October. They had gone down that historic stretch of beating all four of those ranked teams in a row. And you could attribute that to fatigue. We certainly can contribute it to injuries. Everybody's hurt right now. But, and then, flipping over to Georgia, they annihilate Texas, they annihilate Mississippi State. They played Charlotte, and then the game last weekend against Georgia Tech, a 16-9 win. It was an ugly game. They lost their center in the middle of that game, and you know how rivalry games can get, even on a neutral field. But and Georgia Tech's a great football team, so don't think that you're just playing the most recent Georgia team. If you factor in everything from November on, they're playing as good a football as they have the entire year. So no, I think I agree with that sentiment in a little bit. It might be a little bit overblown, but this is just two elite football teams with two elite coaching staffs.
Yeah. And what do you, in your opinion, what's going to be like the biggest, I guess, battle, like when it comes to matchups in this game, that's probably going to be the differentiator?
I mean, it's two, and they're two very obvious. I don't want to sound like a cop out, but it's the key to every football game. But specifically, Alabama's front seven against the Georgia run game. They've they've gotten committed to Nate Frazier finally at running back. He's Nick Saban said he was the best high school prospect in the class last year. So high praise from the GOAT himself. Nate Frazier is a hell of a running back, and he will have some success on Saturday, no doubt. He's too good. And how can Alabama hold up front? You're going to be down LT Overton. So Jordan Renaud, Keon Keeley, you're going to be seeing some guys that have been reserves but have played. You're going to get you're going to get your shot here. You're going to be starting against Georgia in the SEC championship game. So how can they hold up front along with Nikhai Hill-Green, Justin Jefferson, and Deontay Lawson? If you just let Georgia line up with multiple tight ends and pound you, that's what they want to do. So you're going to have to find a way to get them in passing situations. And then for Alabama, I'm not going to say run game. Can you give Ty time to throw? Last game, they didn't sack Ty, and he diced him up. Threw for 276, was surgical, was efficient, was rhythmic. So those are the two keys, I think. You give Ty time to operate. Alabama's skill players against most secondaries is advantage. Georgia's extremely talented, but if Ty has time, he will have success. And then if Alabama can't hold up front on defense, Georgia will have equal success on the ground. So for me, it comes down to the Alabama offensive line and the Alabama, the defensive line and the offensive line, like all football games.
Yeah, and I think like you said, the pass rush, Georgia, they've come on a little bit into the end of the year, but they still are dead last in the SEC and I think sacks and just overall pressure rate. So and that's the thing in the first matchup. We were I think 9 for 9 to start the game on third down.
Yep.
13 of 19, if I'm not mistaken.
13 of 19 on third down.
Hard to imagine replicating that.
Right.
At the same time, you probably missed on a couple passes, in second half. You missed on a couple opportunities, and who's to say that you still can't be super efficient on third down or, maybe get a couple other plays, chunk plays here and there. Yeah, like you said, it's going to be, are we going to give Ty enough time to throw? Yeah, we're probably not going to run the football super efficiently. Georgia, that's what they do best. But here's the thing. I mean, that like the Oklahoma game, it kind of the Oklahoma Auburn, it was similar. It's stop the run. The great run defense is maybe not so great on the pass. Although I do think Georgia's probably got a great secondary. They don't have the best pass rush. So again, it kind of gives an open lane for us. But that's not what we don't run the football. So I mean, go ahead and stop our run. I think you got to stop Ty Simpson. So they're gonna have to find a way to get a pressure on Ty, and if you send multiple guys, maybe some of our receivers get open.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah. If Georgia's if they have to bring pressure and bring extra guys, Ty's going to have to get the ball out quick, but that's going to leave guys isolated. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be, with me, as just somebody who loves the game and the chess match that's going to go in between it. Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb on one side, Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann on the other side. Like, yeah. Oh man, just to be listening, I would have no idea what the hell they were saying, but just to be a fly on, like listening to the headsets of what they're seeing on that game or on the field, man, it would be amazing. It would be just incredible to hear.
Yeah, man, and like you said, on the on Georgia's offensive line. I mean, how big of an impact is Bobo out at center going to be on this game? Because I mean, Georgia loves to run the football, and Gunnar Stockton, yeah, they've been playing great lately, but he only had 70 yards last week. And you could probably contribute part of that to the guy at center, being out of the game, Bobo. So, I mean, that could end up having a huge impact that nobody's really looking into right now. So, you yeah, whenever you don't have the stars go out, if a quarterback goes out or a star receiver, everybody kind of worries. But I mean, the offensive line, man. I mean, a couple weeks ago we were sweating Parker Brailsford. Great to hear
Yeah.
that he is doing a lot better. Um, but I mean, even if a guy's a little dinged up, you'd at least like him to play most of the game and maybe come out for a couple snaps. But to have your center out all game, I mean, that could be a huge impact.
No doubt. And center is so much more than snapping the ball. That of course is the important part of it is getting the ball to the quarterback, but having a center um, make checks, make calls, can adjust the line. That takes a lot off the quarterback's plate. So I don't know Georgia's backup center what the situation. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a 4 or a 5-star player that's going to be coming in to replace him, but Drew Bobo is a veteran on that football team. He's played a lot of football. Great relationship with Gunner. They've been doing this for however many games we're in it now, 12. So losing Bobo is certainly going to be something I think that could impact the game. But I'm sure that Georgia's had a week to get ready for it and a week to get somebody ready to go. That it will affect the game plan equal to maybe not equal in positional value, but Alabama losing LT Overton on the defensive line. Everybody's hurt, everybody's banged up. You just got to next man up mentality, and both of these teams have that same mentality and have that
Yeah.
same depth. So it's going to be next guy up and knock them, line them up and let them play. But it certainly could have an impact on the run game. And then I think you had a note. You were kind of talking about that could be huge advantage. Alabama having Tim Keenan lined up on a backup center.
Yeah, and I've got him as my defensive X factor in this football game. I mean, like you said, run stopper. I believe the center is a freshman. So, I mean, having a veteran and Tim Keenan, being able to stop the run, and maybe get some just pressure on the quarterback even too. I think we might be able to have an opportunity there. And I think it's going to be cool also to see Rusal and Pierre out there at the same time, running out there together.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that too.
Those
Who's
third
your
and longs with Rusal and Pierre on the field together. I think they should be able to have some success. Georgia's offensive tackles are elite. They'll win some. Rusal and Pierre will win some. That'll just be good on good, man. Can't wait for it.
Yeah. Who's your defensive X factor?
Defensive X factor. I was going to cheat, but you talked me out of it. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson at inside linebacker. In a game like this, against a power run team that wants to run with a quarterback like Gunnar Stockton, who will take it. He will take it on scrambles. He will take it on broken plays. He will get in the design run game. Justin Jefferson is perfect for this type of game. He's physical. He is a veteran, a senior, played a ton of football, knows his assignment on every play, athletic. I think he's going to have some spy responsibilities, so not letting Gunner escape the pocket on broken plays, maybe shooting the gap on a quarterback design run and getting at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be vital. So give me number 10 right there in the middle, playing big, quarterback spy, and Justin Jefferson is going to be my defensive X factor for the game.
Awesome. And the thing with the offense, for Alabama, I'm looking for Ryan Williams to finally have his breakout game. He's going to be
Man,
my X factor on the offensive side of the ball. I think if we finally, if we give Ty some time, and I think, the pass rush has been pretty evident over the past couple weeks with the defenses that we played. The fact that Georgia doesn't quite have that kind of pass rush that we've seen lately, I think he's going to have time to throw. And I think if he's going to have time to throw, I think there's going to be some ways to get Ryan Williams open, whether it's downfield or
yep.
maybe 20 yards downfield even. I think he's finally going to kind of get in his mojo, and, you might see him break one like he did last year in the Georgia game. I think
You
that's
need
something we've been missing.
I love that. I love that you went with Ryan because it just kind of feels like, it's been a disappointing year. He's taken way too much hate from everyone. He's obviously been banged up. There might be some things going on with confidence, and that could be impacting his play. But you're to beat Georgia, to beat the teams that you're hoping to play later on down the line in the playoff. You need Ryan Williams. This is the kind of game where Ryan Williams comes to life, reminds everyone, look, I didn't go anywhere. I'm still here. He had a good game against Georgia both times he's played them. So I love the Ryan Williams pick, and I'm with you, man. Don't be shocked if Ryan has a big day, and maybe not catch volume, but some big third downs, a touchdown. I love your Ryan Williams pick, and I don't think anybody would be happier than the entire Alabama fan base to see Ryan come back and make a huge impact in the game.
Yeah. Who you got?
I went. Well, I mean, you know me. It's usually with X Factors, Cuevas and Lottie Brooks. Those are my two guys. And Josh Cuevas still is listed as questionable. He hasn't been ruled out. I think we kind of anticipate him not to play, but it's good that he hasn't been ruled out. And then Latsir Brooks, I've done that before. As much as I love him, I'm going to go with Isaiah Horton here. 3 tuds last game. He brings that different element. He's the 6'4" red zone possession type of receiver. And I think in a game like this, Ryan Williams will certainly attract attention. Our offense does run through Jeremy Bernard, so I expect he will attract a lot of attention, especially with Cuevas being out. That's one less, Cuevas likely being out. That's one less weapon that Kirby and the defense will have to account for. So if you get Isaiah Horton matched up in some one-on-one situations on big third downs or red zone, look for number one to make some huge catches in this game. But give me Isaiah Horton to be the X factor for the Tide offense.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, gosh, he had a heck of a game last week, and him and Ty are just clicking together lately. So I would be excited for that as well. Something I'm looking forward to seeing is how our backs are. With Jam out, more than likely at least, and then Kevin Riley as well. I mean, Daniel Hill, I'm assuming will probably get a majority of the touches, but you're probably going to see a Dre Washington or an AK Deer who did have a reception last week. I'm glad that we finally. A lot of fans have been eager to see him, so it was kind of nice at least for him to get one snap and get a reception. But I think we're likely to see some action from those guys. So I want to see how. I mean, this is some of their first opportunities to really get some meaningful playing time. So I'm sure they're going to be busting their ass. They're going to be aggressive, trying to make a name for themselves, and for a little bit more playing time going to the rest of the year and then going into next year. So I'm very eager to see how they pan out this weekend.
I think you are going to see some AK Deer and some Dre Washington just because you're going to have to. You don't have Kevin Riley. You're likely not going to have Jam. So Daniel Hill can carry the load, but he's going to have to be spelled. And one thing that stuck out to me, I know it was for one snap, but AK Deer played in a tight ball game in Jordan-Hare against Auburn. I don't think he would have been out on that field if they didn't trust him a little bit, even for one snap. So I think you're going to see some AK Deer. I think you're going to see some Dre Washington. We haven't seen a ton of him, but he's a veteran player, came in from the portal, even if it's just 4 or 5 carries during the game, just to give Hill a break. I think you will see some Dre Washington, but you have to stay committed to the run. He ran for 117 yards against Georgia last time around, and look, like you said, you're not running for 200. You're probably not running for 150, but you have to stay committed to it. You can't just abandon it after they stop you the first 3 times. So I am very curious to see the run game. I think they've made some progress in the run game. They finally settled on their offensive line. They have the same 5 that started against Oklahoma have started against Eastern Illinois and Auburn, and I anticipate them starting this time. So the backs are going to have to do their thing. And another thing, other than carrying the ball, is pass protection. That's what Jam Miller was so good at, was keeping Ty upright with blitzers. And if Georgia blitzes those linebackers like crazy, AK Deer can run the ball great, but if he misses a block and gets Ty hit, what does a 50-yard run do if Ty gets hit and gets hurt or throws a pick or fumbles? So there's a lot that goes into which back will play, but they're all going to have to be ready. You're going to probably see all 3 of them.
Yeah, and and I think it'd be cool to get Ty involved in the run game, like we had that misdirection, 30-yard, 30 yards scamper that he had to line him up for a touchdown last game, or I think get in field goal range maybe. I think a little bit more of that, maybe a couple of those, couple misdirections, maybe give it to, get Jerem involved in the run game a little bit. I
Yep,
think you got to be a little creative.
you do. Yeah, you have to supplement because Alabama's not going to just line up and do to Georgia what Georgia's going to try to do to Alabama. I mean, you have to be creative, and I think Ryan Grubb does a great job of figuring out ways to do it. So we know a Latsier Brooks jet sweep is coming, or a reverse or something. Caden Proctor will probably touch the ball. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully, if we get some momentum in the game, we don't try a trick play when we're having success, just turning the ball, handing the ball off, or our short and intermediate passing game. But I just want to give a couple quick just shout outs to guys that I've, and I say this before every game, and everybody will laugh. Connor Talty, Blake Dowd, Cole Adams, Rozier the snapper, all of those guys deserve their shout outs. They've last weekend, I don't think there were any special teams blunders, and nothing flips a game on harder than special teams and quicker than special teams. So shout out to Connor Talty after getting booed by his home crowd, coming out and hitting two big field goals in Auburn.
Absolutely, man.
You're going to need every kick you can get. You're going to need every, with the way the defense is playing, any punt where you make the opposing offense drive the length of the field. Cole Adams is a reliable returner. Rozier's been getting the snaps down. We switched to him after the debacle at Oklahoma. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the specialists. They don't get enough love, but they're going to be just as important as everybody else come Saturday and the rest of the season.
Heck yeah, man. Well, man, it will be an exciting one. We'll get into the score predictions. I mean, come on, I'm not going to pick against Alabama. I'll get the Tide winning 27-23.
27-23, 4-point
Simpson's
win.
going to take care of the football. I think you're going to get all the receivers involved. I think the run game's going to go over 100 and be just enough to get us a close victory in Atlanta.
Well, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not going to pick. I mean, I'm not picking against the Tide. I'm going Bama 23-20. Not saying it'll be a walk-off field goal as time expired. I don't think my heart could take that. But, what's so interesting about these matchups is the past two times Alabama has just jumped on Georgia's ass so quick. It was 28-0 last year, 14-0 this year before we could even blink and figure out what was going on. I think Kirby I don't anticipate. I mean, I anticipate Alabama coming out and playing well early, but I don't anticipate going up 21-0 or anything like that. I think this is going to be more of a feel out. I think yards are going to be very hard to come by early on in this game. Alabama was held scoreless in the second half of this game last year, and in 2024. Outside of the Ryan Williams touchdown, I don't think they got in the end zone in the second half either of that game last year, right? So second half adjustments are going to be something that's going to be done by Kirby, no doubt, and going to have to be done by the Alabama staff as well. But I'm going to go Bama 23-20. Alabama beats Georgia with their offense on the field in the victory formation, and Alabama beats Georgia. Kalen DeBoer wins his first SEC championship as the head coach of Alabama. Give me Bama 23-20.
How about that, man? Well, we shall see. Drop your predictions in the comments. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, share it to everybody, and help us grow the channel. But we appreciate you listening.
Like I said earlier, do what he said. Also, my wife had an X factor that she thinks was going to be the deciding factor of the game, and that's Jeremy Bernard. So we won't make fun of her for picking a super obvious one, but shout out Jeremy Bernard.
Hey, he might get in the end zone rushing. He might do something special, and
they want him to throw a touchdown so bad. We're probably gonna see that play again.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope y'all are as excited for conference title games as Brian and I are. Can't wait to watch them. Can't wait to dive in, and can't wait to talk about them with y'all later.
Yes, sir. Peace.